Alright guys, what's going on? Today I want to talk about salting parking lots. This is something apparently that's all I'm ever going to get to do with my plow and my salter is just to use the salter. So 2 nights this week we got some freezing rain and some drizzle, and we got to go out and salt. And I kind of want to talk to you guys and kind of get your opinion on a few things, because a lot of you guys know I'm new to this. I'm just kind of raw when it comes to the plow and salt game, so I'm kind of learning as I go, and I want to kind of maximize my money, and I want to make sure that I'm spreading enough salt to get it done, but make sure I'm not spreading too much and doing harm and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to go over some numbers. When I was out the other day, I kind of went through and figured out how much salt I was putting down to cover that parking lot. And we know the square footage of the parking lot, and I know how much salt I put down. So I kind of want to discuss that rate with you guys and see if you guys are putting down at similar rates. What are you kind of seeing? What kind of results are you seeing? And all that type of stuff. So like I said, we went out a couple nights this week, and you know, not too bad. I ended up having 7 parking lots that needed done. I normally have 6. I had a customer call me that one of theirs done. It was kind of a small little parking lot, so we went ahead and did it. So not too bad. I'm in a position to where I really don't want to take on any more. It takes me roughly about 5 hours or so to get through them all, and that's just because I'm kind of a slow driver when it comes to ice. I don't get in too big a hurry, so it takes me a little bit to get from here to there. A lot of mine are still kind of in the same area. I do have one that's kind of a little bit off the beaten path, but I keep it, and I kind of have to do it because I do everything else for them throughout the year. I do you know, lawn care and sprinklers and all that type of stuff. So everything, you know, obviously I just, you know, I want to keep the account. It's a commercial account. Very, very good customer. They never hound me. You know, they're always happy with the work. I send them a bill every month. They pay me. So, you know, I'm willing to go a little bit off the beaten path to get that one done. But all the other ones, they're pretty close. So another thing I wanted to talk about was application rates. And this is something, you know, last year when I went out and salted, I didn't pay no attention to how much salt I was putting down. I just wanted to make sure I got the job done right and make sure the customer was happy. That's just kind of the way I approached it. I was so new to salting that I didn't have no formula. I had no rhyme or reason. I just went out there and I threw what I thought would be enough and hope it melted. If it didn't, I threw a little bit more. And that's just the way it all worked out. Now I'm trying to kind of figure it all out. The more I salt, the more you kind of start getting comfortable with it. And I want to kind of narrow down my price per square foot. You know, how much salt am I putting down? How many pounds per 1,000 square feet am I putting down? That type of stuff. I want to narrow that down and kind of, you know, obviously I want to maximize my profits. So that's where I kind of need your guys' help as well to figure out kind of what applications are you guys putting down, what is the rate as far as pounds per 1,000 square feet. All right guys, so I got the chart made up and we got the 6 properties on here. I'm not going to include the 7th property. Like I said, that was just kind of an add-on there at the end. Very small property. I literally just threw it by hand. It was so small. So not even going to include that one. We're just going to go with the 6 properties that I normally do when I go out and salt. And we're going to go over the square footage of the property. We're going to go over how many pounds of salt that I threw down. We're going to go over what that salt cost me, and we're going to go over how much I charge for that lot. One thing I want you guys to understand and keep in mind is that this is the first time I'm actually analyzing my numbers, and I'm doing it on camera to kind of just to show you guys kind of how things are working. And this is going to be eye-opening for me. I literally have not sat down and figured out these numbers yet, and so I want to do it and I want to learn from it, and I hope you guys can learn something from it as well. You know, back when I made that video in November, we talked about getting inside the numbers, and we talked about learning numbers of the business and things like that. This is what I'm talking about, and I actually kind of made the point in that video that you guys are gonna have the opportunity to tear me apart. And this is your first opportunity. So I'm 100% honest with you when I said I have not gone over these numbers with myself. I have not sat down and figured out these numbers. These are 100% legit numbers. And I'm actually think I'm gonna be on the low end, and we're gonna have to do some changing. But we are gonna go over the numbers, and we're gonna do it real quick. So I got the properties written down on my little cheat sheet here. Now, how I bid these properties to begin with, I just threw out a number. I just threw out a number, and I just thought in my head. I had no rhyme or reason what I was doing. This is kind of what I want you guys to understand, and what I want you guys to learn. When you do it this way, your numbers are going to be all over the charts, and that's what I'm expecting with this. I'm expecting my numbers to. I expect I'm gonna win some, I'm gonna lose some, and I want to win everything. That's what we talked about back in November. That's what I want to do with these numbers. And property number 1 is 26,000 square feet, and I threw down 6 bags of salt at 40 pounds per bag. That's 240 pounds, and the salt cost me $6 per bag. So that is 6 times 6 is 36, and that's what the salt cost me. And I charged $75 for this property. So another thing I want to kind of explain as far as my numbers go, as far as my hourly rate and all that kind of stuff. A few weeks ago, I sat down with a friend of mine, John Pajak, and we sat on the phone for a good 2.5 hours, and we discussed my numbers, we discussed everything, and we came up with an hourly rate for my company, and we came up with that, and that is based on 32 weeks a year, and that is based on the majority of the time throughout the year that I do my business. When it comes to snow and when it comes to salt, it's all gravy. It's all extra. All my equipment cost, all my expenses, all that stuff, all my reoccurring stuff is already figured out from the months of, what's that, April, March to October, somewhere around there. 32 weeks is what my main year is. So when we're talking about these numbers, keep in mind that all my insurance, all my car insurance, taxes, all that kind of stuff is already figured into my hourly rate coming up. So the way I look at it is, this is all gravy. This is all extra. This is all extra money. When we're talking about equipment costs, we're talking about truck costs, truck maintenance, we're talking about all that stuff. All that's already figured in to my hourly rate when it comes to lawn, landscape, all that type of stuff. So I'm really not figuring that into here because it's just hard to do, because I don't know if I'm going to get snow. If you're living in a place where you get snow a lot, you can kind of count on that, and you can figure that into this type of stuff. This is all extra for me. Everything I make off of this is extra. Everything else is already figured in somewhere else. So I hope that makes sense, because when we're talking about these numbers, one thing I know I'm going to get a lot of comments on is, well, you're not figuring in your insurance, you're not figuring in this, you're not figuring in that. I've already got that figured in somewhere else. So I have a budget, I have everything else for the year budgeted out in 32 weeks, because that's when I do 90% of my work in my business. Everything that it costs me to run my business throughout the year is figured in that 32 weeks. That is my hourly rate for that time, for the whole year, and that's going to cover all my expenses. So basically, we're just going to be talking about the square footage, the pounds, the money it cost me to salt, and what I made. Now, the only other expense that we need to figure into here is the truck, the gas. So all the maintenance and all that, like I said, is already figured in somewhere else. So, but the gas we actually use to go do these properties. Now, I already know for the 2 days that I went out and salted, I used a tank of gas. It was almost spot on, a tank of gas. A tank of gas cost me right around $50 in that truck. So we're talking $25 a day to use that truck to go plow as far as gas goes. So 25 divided by 6, what are you looking at? About $4.50, somewhere around there per property to do it. We're just going to round it up. We're going to say $5 per property. So we're just going to put that down here. That's something I didn't just now thought of. So all in all, this property cost me $41 to go salt. So that is with the salt and the gas. And like I said, the equipment and everything else is figured into my budget for 32 weeks. $41, so 41, so I actually made $34. Is that right? I think that's right. I think that if I did my math right, I made $34 on that property. So my first impression, and like I said, this is the first time I've gone over this, first time I've actually sat down and figured this out. My first impression is that's kind of low. That's not a good amount of money to go out at 2 a.m. and salt. Right now, it's funny because I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm a little bit discouraged, and yeah, but that's why we're doing this. So that's why we're doing this. Oh man. So anyway, so real quick, we're not gonna, I'm not gonna spend that much time on each one. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna write them all down, and then we'll go over the whole board here real quick. All right, so I got them all written out. So as you can see, the normal size properties, I bid them all at $75. Some of them I made a little bit more money than others, but all in all, I think they're still kind of low. Now the one property that I did well on was number 2. And that was 40,000 square feet. I put down 440 pounds of salt, but there my cost was $71. The salt was $66 plus the $5. So I charged $200. I actually made $129 on that property. So that one there, I think is probably, I don't know, it seems a little bit high. So it's actually going to probably make my numbers look a little bit better. And I think all in all, they're actually kind of bad. But all in all, this is what it looks like. So now that we've got that, let's go over, and I'm going to erase this, and we're going to go over the totals for that day. All right, guys, so this is the final numbers of when I go out and salt, and this is the final number of the last 2 days. So let's just go over it real quick. So all the properties added up, it's 122,000 square feet. I put down almost three quarters of a ton of salt, 1,460 pounds. It cost me $240 to do these jobs per day, and I make $575 per day per salting to do these jobs. The math is per day, per salt event, per one time salting all these properties, I make $335. So for the 2 days, I've made $670 this week. And like I said, I think that one property kind of inflates these numbers. Seeing this, I don't think, that's not bad. So like I said, this is all kind of bonus money for me. So $670 this week is what I made on salting them properties. I'm kind of happy with that, but like I said, I think the numbers are inflated because of that one property. I do think I need to raise my prices on all the other ones, or at least a few of them. Actually, I think they all need to go up. Some need to go up a little bit more because, like I said, I've never paid attention to how much salt I was throwing. I just wanted to get them done. So this is where it's very, very important, and this is kind of the focus of my business. This is why I wanted to scale down. This is why I wanted to scale down so I can figure out my numbers before I start scaling back up. And that's one thing that I'm not sure I've said, but I'm going solo this year. I might have a helper. I still call it solo, so I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to work with me. But to me, it's definitely a scale back. But that doesn't mean I don't want to jump back forward. That doesn't mean I don't want to hire employees in the future. I just want to know my numbers in and out. And I want to know where every nook and cranny is going before I do that, so I know I can be successful. I didn't do that in my previous years, and that's why I wasn't very successful. I didn't know my numbers. So the whole point of this is to kind of show you guys kind of my process And if there's anything you guys want to add, please do. I welcome all the feedback. But like I said, this is literally the first time I've gone over these numbers. This is the first time I've done this with my snow plowing. I did this a few weeks ago with a friend of mine, John Pajak, with everything else in my business. But this is the first time I've ever done it doing this. And I pretty much did this live. I haven't changed any numbers. I haven't done anything here to make myself look good or bad either way. This is the real legit number of every time I go out and I throw salt. Now, the one catch is when I go out and I get to plow and salt. Here's the kicker. So what I've always done, and I've always charged a certain amount for salting and a certain amount for plowing. So what I did with these properties, you know, I charged $75 to salt and $75 to push. So it'd be $150. Now the one big one that's inflated my numbers, that one actually does not get plowed. So it's a rock driveway, and so when it sleets is the only time they really have a problem with it all kind of just getting iced over. They want salt thrown. So there's really no plowing on that one. But anyway, so if I do go plow, then basically my numbers or my money is going to be more, because my expenses aren't going to be more because my equipment's already taken care of in my hourly rate, you know, throughout the year. So what I'm wanting is I really want to get out there and plow and salt, because I get to charge double. And I really haven't had that situation come up very often, but that's what I'm kind of wanting. That's where I can start kind of getting some money built up. Like I've always said, I just want to share with you guys, and hopefully you got something out of this, good or bad. If you can leave a comment, please do. Tell me how you guys do things, and keep in mind, we're not in an area that gets a big population of snow and ice, so that's not something that I count on. It's not something I budget for, and this is all kind of bonus money the way I look at it. So let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.